Hey, Nicole, thank you for the sweet introduction last
Oh my
night
goodness.
and for doing this
Thank
today.
you so much. Of course.
Really
Yes.
appreciate it.
Yes. This
Yo.
is my daughter Evie.
Beto. Amy?
Evie.
Evie. Okay.
Yeah.
Evie, what grade are we starting? Third. Okay, so my son Henry is starting third grade right now as well. So we've got to introduce it to you at some point down the road.
Love it. How's it going? Did he
Good.
start yet? Okay, good. Good.
Oh yeah, how is school going? So
Yeah.
he's about to start his second week.
Okay.
And really likes it. Yeah. So
Anything you think Congressman O'Rourke should know? What do you want? What are you scared of? What are you hopeful about? No guns.
No
Okay,
guns.
well, I think
You
we're
got
over
it,
there.
Evie.
That's a good one. Hey, can you
Yeah.
take a picture with him? Awesome. Would you mind?
Not at all. Here.
Oh, good. Thank you. He's the tall guy with the red hair.
rally today at 4 o'clock on Mountain Street. Beto O'Rourke has what so many politicians don't, which is this. If you're in a position of power and you use it to speak out about the things that really matter, the human cost of our racist, of our fearful, of our short-sighted policies, then it doesn't really matter if you get more votes in a United States Senate campaign. Because at the end of the day, we have all won because of that conversation.
Yeah.
We often hear it said that young people, just like so many of you here today, are our future. We hear that you give us hope about where things will stand in 10 or 20 or 50 years. But standing in front of this crowd here today, I have a slightly different take. You are here now. People like Michael Wallace and the Young Democrats Party. Who put on this event? You are doing the work. You are fighting the fights. You are telling the truth. And you are why we're not going to have to wait 10 or 20 or 50 years. But it's up to us to give you all something to believe in. I have no doubt that today you will find that in Congressman O'Rourke.
First of all, I want to say thank you so much for coming, everyone. Before I even introduce myself, as Michael Wallace, president of the U of A Young Democrats, I want to say that to all of you, you guys are participating in the political process, and that's amazing. So, thank you. The next thing I'd like to say is I'm so thankful all of you are here and engaged with this presidential race, but we need you to be here for local races too. We have a registered nurse and former foster parent running in the 3rd District for our congressional seat. Celeste Williams will be on your ballot in November. Yes, he will! Josh Mahoney is running. And we have got to get Tom Cotton out. And if you're interested in helping out with these races, we have sign-up sheets at that canopy right back there. It's the Young Democrats of Arkansas canopy. Next thing I'd like to say is thank you to every single Young Democrat that is here. Please raise your hand. You are doing the work in Arkansas. And then, of course, I thank you to Nicole Clowney, who represents our district so proudly and so progressively. And Denise Garner isn't here, but we know that she's fighting for us. And she attended a gun show in Conway with Congressman O'Rourke yesterday to meet people where they are at, to talk to voters about the issues they care about, which is exactly what we need to be doing going into 2020. Denise has a few words for you guys that she wanted me to read. U of A YEs and fellow Razorbacks. I'm so sorry to miss out on today's celebration and call to action. Family obligations keep me away in person, but not in spirit. I can't leave out an opportunity to publicly thank you all for knocking hundreds of doors, registering voters, calling your representatives, helping to inform our community of all the important issues, and then organizing and then taking action. You have given hope to those frustrated by the process and enabled us to see the world anew. You've rejected old constraints, outdated conventions, and cowardice dressed up as wisdom. Thank you, thank you, thank you for showing us that the world can be a better place. I'll close by reminding you, as I do each time we meet, that not only are you the future leadership in civic engagement, but you are the present.
Yes, we are.
I adore you and thank you for your enormous passion and continuous service to our communities. With miles to go before we rest, Denise. And we'll be hearing about a few of these issues by someone that you might have heard of when he ran against Ted Cruz. During his campaign in Texas, he went to every county. He didn't look at people as red voters or blue voters, but Texans who he needed to hear from if he was going to represent them. He lost by just under 3% in Texas, guys. We need to be taking notes in Arkansas. And in the days following the tragic shooting in El Paso, he has unified the country and spoken truth to power. And as this tragedy occurred in a Walmart, something all too close to our hearts in Northwest Arkansas, we were left wondering, are we next?
Right.
And Congressman O'Rourke is here today to say that we don't have to be next. He knows that as the only presidential candidate from El Paso, immigrants make us safer, not less safe. And Beto knows this because he knows that every person matters. He goes there and he meets them. Regardless of their status of documentation, he recognizes their helpful hand in creating a diverse and thriving community. He sees them and their value, and he meets them where they're at. Which is exactly what he's doing for us in Arkansas. And if you ask me, if you want someone to show up for you on election day, you need to show up for them. I can say that the University of Arkansas Young Democrats is not allowed to endorse any presidential candidate. But we are stoked that And with that, I'd like to introduce someone who could be the next president of the United States.
Something I need you to show me. Let's call those hearts. for indulging in texting. You all have been so good to us from the moment that we got to Arkansas. I love you too. And you feel loved. Listen, the last time that I spent any meaningful time in this state was 25 years ago, 1994. I was touring the country in a punk rock band. We were traveling, check this out, 4 guys in a 1978 Plymouth satellite station wagon. Our amplifiers, the drum kit, a pound of beans, a pound of rice, 2 changes of clothes between the 4 of us. The worst smelling car you could hope to never encounter. Played a great show in Little Rock, right by the river. Folks were so nice to us. So many people came out to the show. We played kickball afterwards. Someone bought us pizza. And then, in perhaps true Arkansas fashion, they asked at the end of the night, do you have a place to stay? And of course we did not. And so I got to sleep on someone's living room floor. This is the first time that I've been back since. And you all have made us feel so welcomed, so at home, like we're in the right place. Y decimos que no me importa where you are in the nominating process, how many electoral college votes your state has. You're our fellow Americans, and we're here to show up for you. Also happens to be the year that the Razorbacks and Nolan Richardson won the men's NCAA. And stranger than fiction, Nolan Richardson grew up in El Paso, Texas. In the segundo año, a neighborhood of immigrants. About a quarter of those with whom I live in El Paso were born somewhere else. Chose us, left their families, left their country, left their hometown, left their language, in some cases their customs and their culture, to start anew as strangers in a strange land, to do better for themselves and their kids, just like you want to do better for yourself and your kid, but also because they were called to do better for all of us, and they have. Their very presence making us a stronger, a more secure, a safer country, and my community of El Paso, Texas, one of, if not the safest cities in America today, not despite, but because we're a city of immigrants. That's where Nolan grew up. And let me tell you, beyond winning the national championship here, beyond winning the national championship in the NIT, beyond winning the junior college national championship, the only coach to have pulled off this trifecta, at least that I know of in America. He also enrolled at Texas Western College in 1961. It's now known as the University of Texas at El Paso, and I've got to tell you a story. The reason that Nolan was able to do that is because in 1954, an extraordinarily courageous woman from El Paso, Texas, Thelma White, who graduated from the all-black Douglas High School, because that was the only high school she could attend in El Paso, Texas at the time. Those of you in Fayetteville, alive at that time, know exactly what I'm talking about. Those of you who read your history know exactly what I'm talking about. So Thelma White graduates, tries to enroll at Texas Western College, and is rejected because of the color of her skin. Well, she's not going to take no for an answer. Enlist the aid of a little-known attorney named Thurgood Marshall.
Yes.
All the way up to the federal bench of R.E. Thomason, who not only strikes down segregation in higher education throughout the state of Texas, we had a clause in our state constitution, literally the segregation clause, tried to wire our state against some 4 others. Struck down that clause as well. So Nolan was able to attend Texas Western College, and Nolan, while attending there, tries to go out to dinner one night with a city councilman named Bert Williams. Bert's white, Nolan's black. They finished the softball game to go to the Oasis restaurant to have a meal. 1962. The waitress will not serve them because of the color of Nolan's skin. So they get up, they leave the restaurant. Bert drives Nolan home. He goes back to his city council office and writes an ordinance that he introduces at the next city council meeting, seeking to end segregation in places of public accommodation throughout our community. That ordinance, despite some fierce, stiff opposition, passes. It is then vetoed by the mayor. Now they've got to mount a supermajority override of that veto. And Bert Williams and the other aldermen are getting calls night and day, some supportive. Bert, we love you, keep it up, this is awesome, you're making El Paso proud. Some things that I cannot repeat in front of the children who are here right now, but you know exactly the kind of calls that they got. At the end of the day, the people of our community, people like Nolan Richardson and Bert Williams, the best traditions of this country, who 243 years ago decided we would not define ourselves along lines of race or ethnicity or religion, but instead declare that all of us are created equal, came a little closer to realizing on that day, because they passed the ordinance over the mayor's veto and objection, and became the first city in the whole at Texas Western College and the Miners could recruit players from all over the country, knowing that they were going to be treated like full American citizens, like human beings. And in so doing, along with Nolan Richardson, he put together one of the best benches in the history of basketball in the United States of America. And in 1966, against the University of Kentucky, put on the court the first all-black starting five in the history of basketball. Of civil rights leadership, that understanding that our differences are not dangerous, they don't disqualify us, they are foundational to our success as a community, as a country. That has always distinguished El Paso and our sister city of Ciudad Juarez. See, the two of us are joined together, the largest binational community in the Western Hemisphere, perhaps the world. 3 million, 2 languages, 2 nations, joined, not separated by the Rio Grande River, to form something far greater and more powerful than the sum of the people or the parts involved. Before they desegregated those places of public accommodation, when Nolan didn't want to ride at the back of the bus or sit in a separate section in the movie theater, he just walked over the bridge to Ciudad Juarez and rode anywhere he wanted to on any bus in the city. Went to any film he wanted to see, sat anywhere in that theater. It's something that is so special about my hometown. But let me tell you this. No matter how special your community is, no matter how safe you think you are, no matter how exceptional the people right here under this roof, and those who are not under this roof, we are all still connected to each other in this country, for good or for bad. And what we found in El Paso 2 weeks and a day ago is, though we are one of the safest cities in the United States of America, though we are a city of immigrants and people from the planet over who have found a home and a way to get together and be stronger together, we live in a country that is extraordinarily violent. 40,000 gun deaths. No other developed modern country comes anywhere close to the level of violence that we see in the United States of America today. And this country wasn't just what was happening in 1957 with the Little Rock Nine, or 1962 in that desegregation ordinance. It is alive and well today. The racism that is foundational, just as foundational as those words in the Declaration of Independence that we have never fully lived up to or fulfilled in this country's history. And yet, we have never stopped trying to form that more perfect union, to fulfill that promise, until the administration of this president. A president who describes Muslims as inherently dangerous or defective, so bad that they must be banned from this country, that is comprised of people from every tradition of faith, every walk of life. Mexican immigrants, rapists, and criminals, though they commit crimes at a far lower rate than those born in this country. Klansmen, very fine people, after they just cheered Jews who will not replace us. That's the president's message. Very fine people. And then these warnings about invasions and infestations and predators and animals. Look, I would call cockroaches in our basement an infestation. I would expect to hear human beings described as an infestation in the Third Reich. To dehumanize people, to make it okay, to treat them as less than human. Months ago, in May of this very year, at a rally in Florida, Donald Trump began warning of this invasion of immigrants, who, by the way, arrive at our border as desperate and as vulnerable as a person can be, having fled 2,000 miles from the most dangerous countries in the Americas, on foot atop a train known as the Beast or La Bestia, risking their lives, doing what you would do if it were the only choice you had. He asked the crowd, what are we going to do about these people? And someone in that crowd yells out, shoot them.
No!
And that crowd there in Florida roars their assent. The president smiles and he laughs and he says this is okay. Well, that violence, that hatred, and that racism found us in El Paso. Drove 600 miles from Allen, Texas, to come to our community, to walk into a Walmart with an AK-47, which was designed to kill people on a battlefield as efficiently, as effectively, in as great a number as possible, and turn that loose on people who he described as Mexicans, trying to repel an invasion that he was warned about by the President of the United States of America. Martin Luther King told us, we are each caught in an inescapable network of mutuality, tied in a single garment of destiny. We cannot escape one another, nor should we want to. And so let's make sure that we connect the dots and connect one another about why this is happening in this country. It is not an act of God. It is not by force of nature. These are human problems that human beings like you and me can solve together. Listening to. He's saying, I'll show you an act of God. Listening to those trauma surgeons and doctors who took care of the victims of that terror attack in El Paso on August 3rd. Many of them also serving in the United States military, stationed at William Beaumont Army Medical Center. They told me that the wounds that they were taking care of, the lives that they were trying to save, that looked more like the battlefield wounds they would see in Iraq or Afghanistan, not what you'd expect to see in El Paso, Texas. So I cannot escape the conclusion that not only must we have universal background checks and red flag laws and follow the lead of mom's demand. We've got to stop selling weapons of war. And the millions of weapons of war that are out there, we need to bring them off the streets. That racism, that intolerance, that white supremacy that we are dealing with right now, none other than President Trump's hand-picked director of the FBI, Christopher Wray, has warned that the majority of domestic terrorism cases he is investigating right now involve white nationalists and white supremacists.
Yeah, they do.
It is not enough not to be racist, ladies and gentlemen. We've got to be anti-racist. not express itself in the violence that we're seeing, because let us not fool ourselves. What Donald Trump is giving voice to, what he is inviting into this country right now and into our public life, does not just offend our sensibilities, though it does. I told you the day that he signed that executive order attempting to ban Muslim travel, the mosque in Victoria, Texas was burned to the ground. Warning about caravans financed by wealthy Jews in this country. A shooter walks into the Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh, killing Jewish Americans for fear of caravans that he thinks that they are financing. Hate crimes in this country up every single one of the last 3 years, bar none. And those counties that hosted a Donald Trump rally, hate crimes up more than 200%. This is on all of us to make it right, and here's one way that we can do it. Those immigrants that were just rounded up in Canton, Mississippi, and Forest, Mississippi, the largest single one-state ICE raid in the history of this country. 700 people for the crime of working some of the crappiest jobs that we have in America. Chicken processing plants. They've been working for 18 years. Some of them paid $8 an hour, trying to raise their U.S. citizen children here in this country. Hog-tied at the plant. Separated from their families. Torn from their kids. We got to make this right, and the only way to do it is to rewrite this country's immigration laws in our own image. I understand that given how divided this country is right now, how polarized the nation has become, how dysfunctional our government appears, people can give up and lose hope and be willing to believe in a demagogue who will channel their frustration and their anger against people who do not look like or pray like or love like the majority in this country.
Yes.
For that reason, and also for the purpose of ensuring that we fulfill our full potential, we've got to make sure that we deliver and follow through for the American people. And so, when it comes to the ability to afford insulin, or take your child to a therapist, or see a provider, or for every woman here to make her own decisions about her working a full-time job, that's it. Es todo. No necesitamos más, not 2 or 3 jobs. One job, one living wage. Ending discrimination in the workplace. Latinos are paid 53 cents on the dollar. Women of color, 61 cents on the dollar. Women generally 80 cents on the dollar. Imagine if we were paying every woman in this country a fair wage for the work. You know this, I know this, but this little guy, this little gal knows it better than any of us. The fires that we've seen in California, the 58 inches of rain that fell on Houston, Texas, the landfall record from a single storm in the history of North America. Record droughts that we're seeing all over the world, some of which have precipitated the greatest humanitarian crises, whether it is in Yemen, whether it is in Syria, whether it is in Guatemala. That is caused by you and by me, our omissions, our excesses, our inaction in the face of the facts and the science. 10 years left to us as human beings, as a civilization, as a country to get this right, to free ourselves from a dependence on fossil fuels, to make sure that farmers and using cover crops to pull more carbon out of the air, sequester more of it in the soil, pay them for the environmental services that they want to provide. We've got to do all of this. We're going to make sure that we get our country back. And here's where I conclude. When we were campaigning in Texas last year, I insisted on going to colleges like this one, to junior colleges, to community colleges, to high schools, wherever young people were. And I gotta be honest, my campaign team, the pundits, people who wanted us to hire them on as consultants, but we refused to do so because we didn't have any consultants or pollsters on our campaign. They said, "What are you doing, Beto? Young people do not vote. You're wasting your time." And our response was, I wouldn't vote either if no one showed up in my school. Going to meet this moment of peril into which the president has plunged us? How are we going to confront the most ambitious agenda we've ever seen in this country? I look to every single era of major change in this country, and it has always been led by the young people. I mentioned Olin Richardson earlier. I mentioned the Little Rock Nine. You may know about the Birmingham campaign in 1963. Children leaving their schools, marching out in the streets to be treated like human beings in their own community. On the first day of that campaign, 1,200 children were arrested, not sent home to their parents, not disciplined, in a jail. 1,200 kids. And you've seen the photos. There's one where kids are up against a fire hose that can peel the bark off that tree behind you back there. And the caption to that photo is, when it was published, I think in Time or Life magazine, "They fight a fire that will never go out." Those young people shocked the conscience of this country. They forced us to act. They made differences. So, like any Texan, I'm really proud that LBJ signed into law the Civil Rights and Voting Rights Act. Like any thinking American, I've got to acknowledge, though he gave the credit, it really belonged to those who were willing to march, to put their lives on the line, to ride those Greyhound buses throughout the Deep South, to cross the Edmund Pettus Bridge with John Lewis. They were the ones who wrote the Civil Rights Act. So know this, all of you standing up to be counted, marching against racism, marching for those immigrants, ensuring that we have health care, combating and confronting climate change before it is too late. You will make this happen. I'm counting on you. I believe in you, and that is why I'm here today with you. Thank you.